Hey everybody, this is David B69, and I am kind of like in a flashback kind of mode. We do all this stuff on the Nintendo 64, and we play the NES and Super NES, and we do all these flashback videos. One thing that doesn't like happen that often is I don't like reminisce about my first love, the Commodore 64. Man, I love the Commodore 64, and it had so much games, and I am going to show you my top games that I played on the Nintendo, not the Nintendo, on the Commodore 64 as I grew up as a kid. Um, Basically, just want to go over them, basically give you a little bit of insight and everything to what I thought of them, and then basically return here and we'll have a synopsis afterwards. So, yeah. So here we go with the. Let's see what we got to do. L, and we got to do a Shift O. Then what was it? Yeah, we got a Shift, and then what was it? Star. No, it's $sign. $sign, then comma 8, comma 1, and we go! So, our first video is Miner 2049er. As you can see, our little guy is basically, it's a very simple game. You just walk around, you can hit the guys with a smiley face. If they're anything else but a smiley face, then they're enemies and they can kill you. So you just basically walk around and you just have to pretty much do a Q*bert thing and just walk, touch it, and cover all the level, and then it's basically done. It's a very simple game, but it gets much more complex. Here you can see the second level, and in the second level it gets a little bit more difficult because they add these things with slides. And you can see the enemies are not all smiley faces anymore. They look like friendly birds, but those little friendly birds will kill you. So you have to be careful of when you touch these things, so because you don't want to die. So yeah, this is a fun game. It's like probably of like all the games, this was probably like one of the first games I played when I got a Commodore 64. And I can truly say it is like a masterpiece. I truly love this game. And yeah, I just can't get enough of Miner 2049er. Next up was Raid Over Moscow. Oh, what a simple game, but fun game to play. Raid Over Moscow was basically, you had a threat of nuclear war, and you pretty much need to go out and destroy the enemy silos. So you basically take your plane, you go flying in, and you need to go to each site before the impact time, and you need to destroy their sites. Yeah, so it's kind of wild. It's all on a timer, and you have to do this stuff like really quickly, and you have so many aircraft to do it. And I love these missions because they kind of like remind me of like Zaxxon so much. It's like kind of like a cross of Zaxxon and some other shooting games that just made it a lot of fun. Yeah, it's you can see here and everything. I'm destroying the rockets. I'm going along, destroying like anything possible that I can destroy, and it's like really just like a blast. You can even destroy this military station, but it can't launch any more fighters at you. Destroy that missile, destroy the jet. So destroy this other missile. And then here you get to the near the ending of the level, and you have to basically shoot. As soon as your ship turns blue, it lets you know that you're perfectly lined up, and you can hit your target perfectly. Now it gets steadily harder and harder as the game goes on, which is like really cool, and a lot of fun. It's like, of course, it's lined up like perfectly. It's the first level, so what do you expect? So that's really cool. Next up is Choplifter. Choplifter is a very simple game. You basically just fly out and you go pick up people, rescue them, and bring them home to safety. Doesn't seem that hard. And it's like, if you've played this, you could have played this game. I think it was available on the NES. But graphically, it was like way better on the Commodore 64, and playability, it was better on the Commodore 64, and I liked it a lot more on the Commodore 64. It's just like a very simple, fun game. And I show a little bit of this here and everything. I just, like I said, it's very simple, but it's like when you get to the deeper levels, it gets to be a little bit more fun. So I'm going to show off a little bit more. I'm going to rescue these people and bring them back to safety. And when we go back out, you'll see it gets a little bit more difficult. And I just love the little animations with the people. See, now you got fighter jets coming at you. So now you got tanks and fighter jets. Like I said, they steadily increase the difficulties. It just makes it a lot of fun. It doesn't matter how but you gotta be careful. You don't want to shoot anybody and kill them. You gotta be like really careful on how you're doing that. And it's very easy to turn the ship and like accidentally shoot your own people. So, and you can see there, it's kind of a touch and go situation where you need to do this like perfectly. And you got like these tanks that are shooting, and it just makes it like very, very tough. And then we run home and save these guys and bring them home. Can't have another jet. I mean, what's with another jet or two, which would have had to came from the U.S. territory to come attack me. It's the only thing I don't get, but whatever. It's a fun game. I love Choplifter. Next up is Gyrus. I mean, it's like everybody's played the arcade game Gyrus, and it's on the NES as well. But it's like, it looks and plays so much better on the Commodore 64. It's just like, it's made better on here, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm just showing like one quick level on, because you can get the gameplay and you understand it. But I highly recommend, if you have never played Gyrus, it is a really like game that is a lot of fun and is very addicting to play. I don't know how many times I've gone to Earth and then it goes back and then you go back and forth, but it's a lot of fun. I strongly recommend Gyrus. Next up is Rambo First Blood. Rambo First Blood was probably like my favorite, like top-down, like kind of like shooter kind of guy. It was just a lot of fun. You pick up weapons, and the whole purpose of Rambo First Blood is to go along and you're supposed to rescue the hostages. I mean, the hostages are captured. I think this was Vietnam period. But you got to go rescue them and basically just kill everybody else, because they're not going to wait for you. They're going to like basically kill you. So it's like really, really cool. You got different weapons that you can use, and there you go, you rescued somebody, and it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, I always feel like this game has a lot more depth on the Commodore 64. I mean, of course, the arcade was even better. But yeah, this was like a lot of fun, and yeah, it had massive gameplay, and it was like really cool. And then you can get a jet, and basically you can start using this to basically grab all the POWs from camp. It was like really cool. So, but next up is Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders. This is the greatest part. They created this whole thing, this whole intro. And I'm showing the intro mainly because this is like extremely wild. The whole point of this intro is if you don't pay attention to it, you're totally screwed in the game. You need to pay attention right to the beginning where they showed a map of Mars and there's a whole map there, and that's a key component to playing this game. If you don't know that, then you could really get messed up. I've played this game like several times. It gets a lot easier when you know everything, obviously. But the game is a lot of fun. It's very goofy. Yeah, it's like really cool. So I basically wanted to show off this whole opening sequence, and then then I can show you the actual gameplay menu and interface as it's going to load here. Here we go. It's like, what a dream. And you can see here that it gives you all these options. There's like Maniac Mansion and games like that. It's similar to that kind of game. I just find that this is a little bit more humorous and a little bit more fun. But yeah, you can see all the options and the commands that you can get it to do. So yeah. So I highly would recommend this game, because these were games that as a kid that I was like highly into, and basically has curved the way for me in the future and stuff. And these were all the non-sport games, believe it or not. I haven't even shown you a sport game. Not yet. Don't worry. The sport games are coming up in a minute. And they're probably like my favorite sports games growing up and stuff. So I'm just going to get through. And like I said, I just showed this for a minute just to basically give you an idea and give you a feel. Probably didn't need to make it as long as I did, but I did. So, but you can get this game done in like 7-8 hours in a single game through if you really wanted to. Next is what is this? GameStar Baseball, I think it's called. It's a really nice baseball game where it gives you the options of choosing different kind of pitchers and hitters, and basically just gives you that kind of different options. So you could pretty much play and choose the different options for each team, home and away. You can play 2 players. I mean, these are controllers that are only 1-button controllers, so it gets kind of tricky if you don't know how to play and what direction. But it's a pretty simplified version of baseball, but it's also a lot of fun. So you can really get into it. I mean, is it like true to life baseball? No, not really. But back on the Commodore 64, this was pretty much one of the best you're going to get. For me personally, I don't think there was a better baseball game than this one. I mean, you might want to go micro league baseball, but I don't know. I mean, some of the other ones that I really liked a lot were like pretty much text based, and they were like really solid sim games. But I wouldn't call them arcade fun baseball games that you would want to play with other people. It's just fun simulation type baseball. So that's just my opinion. It's neither here or there, but it's like really cool. So yeah, Star League Baseball, I had it like since I was probably like in 10th grade, I think I had this. Which is a long time ago. I mean, it was just like mid-80s. So that was me trying to get a double play, failed to do so miserably. It was really darn close though. my opinion, I thought we had it. Then you're able to run into that guy and get the out, and that ends the inning, and we're going to the next game, which is Omniplay Basketball. Now, being forthright here, this isn't my video. This is a video that I recorded on YouTube for the benefit of being able to show you gameplay. But Omniplay Basketball was absolutely wonderful. You could build your own teams. You basically started off with like an average team, and they go through their entire careers, and they have like a whole thing with their stamina, and they get like more and more tired as they get old, and they have good outside shot, good inside shot, and be happy and everything. I edited the part out and everything with the changing of the disc. That was like a minute and a half for loading to go to this thing. So yeah, it was kind of wild. You can see they have outside, inside. I think it's speed is the last one, and I think the third one is C is control. I'm not 100% sure. Now this version of the game, they had him playing side view. I think when I played, I had top view. But I'm not 110% sure how we had it, but yeah. So that's what I had for the game back then. So that was Omniplay Basketball. So it was really cool. Wow. So there are my titles on the Commodore 64. What were your favorite titles growing up as a kid if you played Commodore 64? If you didn't play Commodore 64 and you grew up with something else, what were the games that actually influenced you and like that basically like drove you to better and things and growing up? I'm just kind of interested to know. It's been like a little bit fun trip down memory lane. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is David B69, and I am out. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.